Good evening and welcome back here to another episode of Schedule 1, where I'm going to attempt to explain how effects work on probably the most popular recipe on the internet so far. This is a long recipe that yields a lot of money for us in the game, and I think it's pretty good to go through all the stages to see what happens when you add different ingredients in a certain order. Which effects will be changed and turn into what. Now, please take time to claw out that like button to ribbons and subscribe. Not for me, but for my cats Erebus and Persis. If they weren't for them, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Right, so I have here 8 machines. And you can see here on the signs I've added the name of every ingredients to keep some kind of order into this. And of course all of the machines are linked together. And this will be the chemists that move these ingredients from machine to machine. The handlers will be taking items from the back shelf over there and put them over here to refill it all the time. So it's kind of it's a recipe that takes a lot of workers. At least in this recipe, where I have 4 cauldrons as well, I have 4 chemists and 3 handlers, but I need actually a 4th handler, but I'm handling one thing myself there at the end. Anyway, it takes a lot of workers to have it all done. Now let's have a look at the recipe. This is of course for the end game product, the snowball, which I call them here for the sake of decency. And this one has a base value of 150. If you now mix it together with motor oil, we will get slippery on it. And the name here is something I've made up myself. I want to keep some kind of a decent names here, and the game names are a little bit too much sometimes. Anyway, slippery is coming from the motor oil then, of course, and it has a multiplier of 0.34. This turns the slushy into 201 for selling price. It's just the suggested selling price, then of course I can always add up more if I want to. Now if I take the slushy and place it over here and mix it together with a cook, I will get these extra hit points. Slippery will become munchies and energizing. Energizing comes from the cook itself, but the slippery will turn into munchies. It is still the cost of the product, the suggested price is still 201, and because these are still very low. If you remember, 0.34 was slippery, munchies is 0.12 and energizing is 0.14, so they are not much together as they are. But they will be important later on, munchies and energizing. If we take now the extra hit points over here, we can mix them with paracetamol, and all of a sudden the munchies will turn into both paranoia and anti-gravity. Energizing will become sneaky. Now paranoia is 0 multiplier in itself, but it will be important later on. Sneak has a multiplier of 0.24, and anti-gravity is the high roller here with 0.54 in multiplier. All of a sudden we have a floating horror, which is suggested price 267. We move over to the gasoline, and now the paranoia will become calming, but also toxic, because that is what gasoline brings into the mix. We also have sneaky turning into tropic thunder, and anti-gravity still stays as it is. Calming has 0.10 multiplier, and Toxic has 0. Tropic Thunder has 0.46, and Anti-Gravity of course 0.54. This will now be 315 with if I want to sell this product instead. Going over to the fifth ingredients, another cook. Now I will have instead of toxic, I will have euphoric and again energizing because of cook. And of course Tropic Thunder and Anti-Gravity stays as they are. Now we have some happy times here. This one is worth 375 with the multipliers 0.10 there of course. Euphoria is 0.18. Energizing is 0.14. Tropic Thunder is 0.46 and Anti-Gravity 0.54. Moving over to the battery, the 6 ingredients. The euphoric, let's see now it's starting to become a little bit trickier. Euphoric will turn into zombifying. And the bright-eyed is coming from the battery. So that is what's happening around here. Calming and energizing is still there, but the euphoric becomes zombifying with the battery. That is pretty interesting. So we have clear skies. Clear skies is worth 495. We now have 0.10, 0.14. Bright-eyed is 0.40. Tropic Thunder again 0.46. Anti-Gravity 0.54. And zombifying 0.58. That is the next highest multiplier in the game. The highest one is shrinking with 0.60. We take clear skies and go over to the horse juice, the 7th ingredients. And now we have another interesting thing happening here. We have long-faced added into the mix. Everything else stays the same. So, well, I don't have to repeat all of this again. Long-faced, however, I need to tell that this is 0.52 in multiplier. So now we have a pretty big mix here, which is worth 573. Now remember this number now, 573, when we go over with left click with the last ingredient, the mega bean. Now we go into this and add the mega bean, which will yield us this glow mist. Calming will become glowing, and energizing will become cyclopean. And foggy, that comes from the mega bean itself, and the rest stays as they are. This is very interesting that mega bean can change both calming and energizing into two pretty interesting things here, effects. And let's go through this list here, because this is a long one. So we have foggy with 0.36. We have bright-eyed with 0.40. We have Tropic Thunder with 0.46. Glowing is 0.48. Long-faced is 0.52. Anti-gravity 0.54. Cyclopean 0.56. And zombifying 0.58. Now if you take this and put them into a formula where you have the base value of the snowball, which was 150, then you take a bracket, 1 plus a bracket again, and all these multiplies together, you just add them together, and then take bracket, you will get the last and final price of 735. So we went from 573 to 735. That's a pretty big jump here. But that's all because of these last multipliers over here that are very high. They are all up in the higher 40s, 50, almost up to 60 there in multiplier points then, of course. And then we'll get the highest in the known product in the game so far. No one's found anything larger than this for now. And this is a very good thing to use if you want to make a lot of money in Schedule 1. Now, this is pretty time consuming, however, to do this. It takes a long time to refill all these shelves all the time. And as I have it, I have these shelves down here, and then I have an overflow over here, which I have set up like this. Also there, you need kind of a lot of coca leaves, and I have 2 rows. And that is why I only have 3 handlers. And that's kind of the problem here. I could probably remove the cleaner and clean myself and get another handler. That might actually be a good idea. And then I don't need to refill the last mega bean, because right now the mega bean is the one that is hurting at the moment. But here we have the overflow, and also here we have a little text to tell me where I'm going to put what, in case I forget. And it goes around like this. So my handlers, they are picking stuff from up here and going down to the lines down here, refilling the shelves, and then they fill the machines, and then the chemists, they work on the machines. They mix, they move the product over, they mix again, and they move and go, and so on and so forth. They also take the coca leaves from the cauldron and put it into the oven over here, and the oven will then give this machine the snowball product to start the production. So yeah, it's a pretty long chain. It takes a lot of time to refill the shelves, but it yields a lot of money in the beginning. If this is the best way to do this, I'm not sure. It's a good way to do it anyway, to earn some money. But after a while it gets a little bit boring and repetitive to refill the storages all over again. But well, I'll leave that up to you and let you play the game however you like to do it. This was just a quick look into how effects work, and I hope you enjoyed this and learned some from different effects. And I hope to see you in the next one. I wish you a good morning or evening wherever you are in the world. Cheerio. Erebus and Persis says hi. Meow.